Drawing Upon the Spiritual Treasures of the Temple. Written by Stephen L. Fluckiger. Narrated by Casey Wayman. Introduction. Quote, "The temple is where you will receive your highest spiritual treasures." End quote. Russell M. Nelson. What are the spiritual treasures of the temple? In his talk in the General Women's Session of the October 2019 General Conference entitled Spiritual Treasures, President Russell M. Nelson addressed a theme that he had echoed in previous conference addresses and, more importantly, that he has repeated in virtually every General Conference since becoming the senior apostle of the Church. Quote, "Every woman and every man who makes covenants with God and keeps those covenants and who participates worthily in priesthood ordinances has direct access to the power of God. Through the ordinances of the priesthood, both covenant-keeping women and men have access to all the spiritual blessings of the church, or we might say to all the spiritual treasures the Lord has for His children. These gifts or treasures come from making and keeping covenants, especially our temple covenants." End quote. When President Nelson addressed the sisters in 2019, my wife and I had just returned from a mission in Sao Paulo, Brazil. A few months before we completed our mission, a member of the First Presidency had visited with us via video conference, calling us to serve in the Dallas, Texas temple. Our service began a few weeks after this conference address. The shock of that call still with me, I realized as I listened to the prophet that I needed to understand better what these spiritual treasures were, including the endowment of power that I had received 48 years previously in the Salt Lake Temple before embarking on my first mission to Brazil. Of course, over those intervening years, I had studied extensively many of the things President Nelson urged the sisters in that powerful talk to study prayerfully about the profound endowment of knowledge and power we receive in the temple, including the scriptures and teachings by modern prophets, seers, and revelators. However, I felt a particular need at that time to claim the specific blessings he promised. Quote, "As your understanding increases, and as you exercise faith in the Lord and His priesthood power, your ability to draw upon this spiritual treasure that the Lord has made available in the temple will increase. As you do so, you will find yourselves better able to help create eternal families that are united, sealed in the temple of the Lord, and full of love for our Heavenly Father and for Jesus Christ." End quote. President Nelson's reference to drawing upon the Lord.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?